And now he's like lost
my
out. I know.
God. So 21 hours in,
Yeah,
and you just overwrote the save.
it was a good game though.
Thank you very much for joining us for one more round, and welcome back to another episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison, and to my right, as always, Andy Donaldson. I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, so
I feel so bad for him.
yeah, he doesn't want to play anymore really now because he's just can't be able to go to that
I'm not
shit battle
surprised
either,
you've been back over 21 hours.
Yeah, 21 hours. 21 hours.
Imagine if you got 21 hours into Pokemon, someone just deleted your Gyarados like that.
And you still got my Gyarados card.
So every single week in Film Club, we invite you guys at home along to watch a film with us. This week, we've been watching... Animal House.
Animal House, which you can see there. It's a film, well, it's the... I guess, why do we do this? It's
You tell me, because this was your recommendation.
Yeah, so I watched this ages ago at Dad's Collection. And I don't know, it's a comedy. Where this is... we'll speak about it later, later on, whatever, but... It's got so much legacy to it. This is arguably the first American comedy fraternity film that paved the way for American Pie. It's about a group of guys, two guys, that join the Delta fraternity. They don't take themselves seriously. All the other houses are a bit, pompous and stuff like that, aren't they? And up their own arse. And it's about them just cracking on and just enjoying themselves through, and then they get like everyone kind of goes against them at the end. It's just a story about their fraternity at Delta House. So. And it's good as a great ending, isn't it? I always remember that float scene.
So it's interesting that you say this is a film about two guys trying to find a fraternity.
They're not the main characters. It starts with two guys, but it just goes on about everyone. Everyone's individual. If anything, it's more so that president guy who's on about the golf swing is like, let me show you, and he hits the...
It's weird because you're right, it does start with those two.
Yeah, I think it's just because you need them to lead you into the house.
Then it just expands out.
You experience it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And as slowly as you go on, you start building relationships with the characters. And by the end, we got all seven of them in front of you. Oh, sorry, not all seven, all five of them.
Yeah.
Besides the guy with the girlfriend. I'll have to get the names up here. Boone with the girlfriend.
To be honest, Boone's the only one I can remember. I don't remember anybody else's name.
And you have, what's his name? Beaver? Pinto is I think he's one of the new guys. You got Pete Boomer, who's I think the big president guy. I could be wrong. And you got D-Day, who's my favourite. The guy, he comes upstairs, first thing you see D-Day, he comes up the motorbike, gives a beer to the new guy. That's awesome, right? So...
I'm shocked, actually, he's your favourite, not the guy whose name I can't remember, because I just said it can't remember anybody's name. Is it Bluto?
The one that's just mad.
Yeah.
So Bluto, and he's played by Thingamabob. And he was the one in the film that he's like the most recognised actor, because a lot of this has got like...
John
Belushi, yeah, John Belushi, who sadly, I didn't know this, passed away from a speedball overdose. And Shinfofia, Hillel Slovak, the original Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist, also died of the same thing, overdose from a speedball. Read Scar Tissue, Anthony Kiedis. It's one of the best books.
Time with Andy returns.
No, seriously, that's one of the best books I've ever read, Scar Tissue. So, I've got the cast. Kevin Bacon's in it, for God's sake.
Yeah, like...
It's weird, it's like a very minor role.
I always knew Kevin Bacon was in Animal House, but I didn't realise the role he had. I thought he had a more central role.
Well, yeah, he's at the
quite
start.
A small character.
I forgot, yeah, he is. I forgot he was in it, to be honest. And he plays a very minor role in it. It's more so about these guys, so... It comes at like Donald Sutherland's in it as well, isn't he? A lecturer who's fucking Thingamabob. Is it Katie? Who's stunning. I think it's Katie. Anyways, the girl, Boone's girlfriend.
Yeah, but what about her?
She ends up banging Donald Sutherland.
Oh, yeah.
And ends up, they're around weeds and stuff. By the way,
funny.
So there's a really funny moment when it's on about the when they're getting pledged, and for the I'll just probably just start there. I just want to make it out of the way. For the Delta guys, I can't remember what they're doing, but they're doing something silly like they're having beer poured over them, aren't they? And they do something. The other guys are getting spanked. And the president's enjoying it. Yeah. He's really enjoying it. And there's a running joke throughout the film where he can't get it up and the girls are jacking him off over the cliff. He's like, is this work? And he's just like, like...
Yeah, he spends the whole time talking about the other guys.
Yeah, exactly. Some great subtle jokes there. Or there's, like, back in the day, we're talking, like, when does this out? It was like 70s or something daft, wasn't it? Do you know exactly when it was? 78, 78, yeah. So, and, there's, like, all these kind of references, like, to... when the army guy, who's an obit, by the way, he's like, drop and get me 20. At the end, when they're all like running over the marbles, he's going, faggots, 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 like this. And it's just like, well, you can't say that nowadays, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's Like,
But, like,
it's old humour. It's like,
Biggest strength of the film, I think, is that most of the humour, not all of it, but most of the humour still totally stands up today.
no, it really does. Like, there was parts in this film, I was like watching it on the train, and there's parts of this film I laughed out loud. One of my favourite moments throughout the whole film, this is one of the ones that everyone who's watched Animal House knows it about. There's been many references to the scene, or there's been one major one, I can't remember the film, is the horse. You know, he's got blanks. And you got Bluto, you got him going, holy shit! Holy shit! Like that. And it's so recognisable. It's so It's such a it's such a great scene. And another part where the golf and they hit the horse and he hits him in the helmet. It's got those daft fits. Like a golf ball to the helmet wouldn't like knock you out and be on the floor, but that exaggerated kind of humour really works in this film.
It does.
You got some really witty moments, some really silly moments, but you got that exaggeration that just works so well.
I think like it's a great script, but I think it's really brought to life and sold by the pairing of the director and the actors. And the scene that like solidified that in my mind is when John Belushi's character is going through the canteen. And it's just this long take.
Yeah, it's a long take, isn't it?
Picking up like various foods, putting it on his plate, some of it's dropping off, like shoving some of it in his mouth, and then like he goes and sits down and like he makes a joke with him where like he squirts like cream all over their faces, and they end up chasing him around the canteen. It's just like, this is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It's manic. It's a huge scene.
It's the most charming thing you've ever seen. Like at that point, nobody watching doesn't love that character.
Yeah, Bluto is like, he's one of those. He's crazy. And there's a really good moment actually when Thingy's crying with the new guy who's got his brother's car is crying and he's trying to give him drinks and do that thing with a can. And it comes to the point where, you know, they're all trying to cheer him up. Oh, well, your brother will get off the insurance. And then Bluto comes over and says, start drinking heavily. And then the president goes, you should listen to this guy. He's a medical student. See, that's like subtle humour like that really works.
It's like they've saved that to like the very end of the film. So you're like, holy shit, this guy's pre-med.
Exactly. That's it, pre-med. That's the phrase. So it's John Landis who did this. I'm trying to find out where he's from. Because there seems to be a lot of Saturday Night Live element in this. That's where Belushi's from.
I was going to say, didn't someone John Belushi came from Saturday Night Live?
But it seems like there might be a few more come from. When I was looking at Animal House before, it seems to be an element of Saturday Night. I can't say the
Saturday Night Live.
That guy. A lot of that in it. But I remember saying that Belushi was the only major one. So like everyone else is like coming in with it.
But I think it feels very Saturday Night Live. Like regardless of where people come from, it feels like it because there's actually very, very, very little plot in the film.
There is.
There's almost no plot and there's almost no character development for anybody. What it is a collection of comedy vignettes.
Yeah.
And like little comedy skits which are all kind of stitched together, which is still utterly charming through and through.
I think charming is a very good word to use to describe this, to be honest, mate.
Like you said, it sparked a genre. It sparked like the whole gross out genre, the whole like college, university comedy genre, which obviously would eventually lead to things like American Pie.
I mean, for God's sake, you've even got Monsters University.
For God's sake.
Well, you've got like Pixar coming back to this like kind of legacy, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing this, that, and the other. You've got, what was the one that we watched? What's similar to American Pie? You know, it's got the buns, it's got the dog that we watched at Curdy's that time.
Buns and the Dog. Do you mean not another teen movie?
No, there's another great example. It begins with V or something you guys don't know, which is where they're jacking off the dog, and the guys are eating the cream buns. Is that
not Euro Trip, the other one?
No, it's not Road Trip.
Road Trip.
It's not them. Another great example, Road Trip from this. It's just spawned such a legacy. And despite what people say, you know, you get all these American Pies and all this, I thought the first few American Pies were good. They were funny. And
they're actually really kind of well made in a lot of ways. They do get pretty lackluster, especially all those NAF spin-offs.
Even like Not Another Teen Movie, I always remember watching that as a kid. I think I was with you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it's meant to be like, it's meant to pay all these like things to these old films. There's a really good, even not outside the fraternity kind of comedy legacy. There's I hope it's Sam Raimi anyway. So I hope it's after this 78. So Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Army in Darkness. Evil Dead 3. Army in Darkness. There's a really good part where you've got the little Bruces going around, and they've got like this fork and they're going ramming speed. And at the end of this, D-Day is going into the booth and going ramming speed.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's just really cool.
I mean, if you watch this film, having never seen it before, you watch it for the first time, you'll be surprised how packed it is full of iconography. But it's iconography that came from this.
Yeah.
Just made up, like, who doesn't now know toga?
Yeah, exactly. A toga
It's from
party.
this.
Exactly. When we were on about last week, what did we do? We had to cut the camera and talk about it.
We had a toga party, in between.
We had a toga party. But we were on about Animal House. That's the main part I remembered from it. I remember the end bit, because it's been like 10 years since I've seen it. And I always remember toga. And I was like, Animal House. That doesn't really work, but, you get my point.
Yeah, I do.
So there's another really good part of this film that I've never really realised before. The music's exceptional.
Yeah.
Like, even the actual main theme tune, with the trumpets and stuff. I'll find the name of the guy who composed it. Music by Elmer Bernstein.
Yeah.
And you've got that lovely kind of America kind of tune, but it works when they're being daft at the end with the whole floats and that trumpety score that he's got, the main theme of this. It really works. But then you
It's like it's over the top, it's over patriotic, it's too enthusiastic what's going on, but so are the characters.
Yeah, exactly. But then you've got the other side of it when you've got the band, what they're called, when they go in that bar and it's
the guy who performs at their party and then they see him again later on.
Shop, shop.
That's amazing. That.
Now it's a great moment and everyone's just dancing in the film and everyone's just appreciating the music and you yourself, because it's a really good cover of that song.
Yeah, and it goes on for ages.
It does, and it works.
But you don't get bored of it.
No, because that's it. I think this film is because you follow these two in. I think you are literally living the fraternity through their eyes.
Yeah, and that's what I mean with the fact that it forgoes plot and it forgoes character a lot of times in favour of two things: humour and tone.
Yeah,
it's obsessed with making sure that it's funny and has this welcoming tone. That's a really good way of putting it. It's this welcoming sort of fun tone, which no one else had got. I think that's where the genre spin-off came from. That's where all these people trying to do
it invites
the college, the university film. They're trying to replicate that tone all the time.
And to be honest, it works. So well played. Animal House are well played.
Should we talk about what doesn't work?
Yeah.
Do you know anything for you that doesn't work?
It'll come to me. I'm the kind of I've finished watching it an hour ago, so I'm still on a bit of a high from it.
There's two big things where I was like, because like I said earlier.
Okay, I've got one, but yeah, go on.
Big chunks of this film have aged so well, and it's so good, and the film as a whole is so endearing, and you like it. However, there's a lot of racism and sexism.
There is a lot of racism and sexism, yeah.
And sometimes
I didn't know how to approach that subject.
Yeah.
There is.
And homophobia as well.
Well, it's It's yes, it's a funny running joke going through like that, but
I actually think that's a joke that works.
Yeah,
because that's he's gay, whatever.
But going back to the army one, where he's calling everyone faggots, you can't really say that nowadays.
Yeah,
it's not a word I particularly like using at all.
The big one for me was when they go to the bar and they walk in, and it's it's full of people who are black, and then we as an audience are supposed to know
that's
them
bad.
Walking into a bar full of black people is dangerous.
Well, it's not. To me, I'd just be like, it's like they've got their own kind of scene. Yes, they've walked into a bar, but it's probably going to a local. But
I was so expecting him to by the end of that scene be
I forgot
merry
about that,
and drinking with them or something.
Yeah, but instead it's the opposite. They run away.
Yeah,
that didn't sit well with me, to be honest. So you're absolutely right about that. For me, it's just it'd be going to a jazz club. It'd be a cool experience. I expected them to be all inviting.
So that's a product of its time.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's in there because I don't actually think that scene derives any good humour either.
I think there's a bit of but National Lampoon, who are a magazine who end up doing this, it's National Lampoon's Animal House, are known for being, or were known, or still are, I don't know if they're still around, for being a controversial
okay, I didn't know that.
subject. Yeah, so very controversial. I also remember there's a picture when I was doing a bit of research about the National Lampoon. I was thinking, who are they? There was a picture of a dog and it says, buy this magazine or we'll shoot this dog, sort of thing.
Sorry, that's funny though.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny.
Oh my god, the horse bee is dead. Yeah. And the next morning where they're having a meeting and the horse's legs are just in the air.
It's funny as fuck.
And the guy's measuring the door.
Well, it's like it happens later on. You got Bluto and he's measuring the windscreen. He just knocks it in, doesn't he?
So
Seemed to have a lovely joke with measuring. But going back just to something you didn't like, there's another thing I picked up on. You know, when they go into the barn and get chased out, and then actually doing the parade, those hands together,
Yeah.
and they pull them apart.
Yeah.
I think maybe trying to say something, but we don't know if it's the controversy or it's just the time coming through.
Yeah.
Technically, there's another little bad point. It's just the audio a bit.
Yeah, there's some dodgy ADR.
When it's just it's just distorted mics. That's all it is. When Bluto's doing his speech, when everyone's down because they're being expelled, there's a heavy presence of distortion on his voice.
Yeah,
it happens. It happens.
The scene
all films it happens.
that I found quite difficult to watch is where what's the two new people. There's the chubby guy.
Yeah.
Where he's cleaning out the horse.
Oh, and the sergeant shouting at him, and he's going.
Oh my god, the ADR on that. Like.
Yeah. So if I could do an example of this and show you how to do it, it goes, "Step down and give me 20." That will compress like that, and they'll hear it there now. That will be so fucking compressed because I've got a limiter on there. I'll compress it after. And I'll
you
use
just destroyed somebody's ears.
No, because after the audio, I'll compress it down and levels that, but you'll hear what compression sounds like, and unfortunately, due to the microphones at the time, that's what it'll sound like.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's an example of compression for you. Yeah, it's. I thoroughly love this film. Like, yes, it's got those elements, it's got those technicalities. I just think it's a fantastic film, and it's really, really, really good way. Like, you were about last week. You know, what do we want to do? What genre do you want to go into? Comedy. It's not the first thing that comes to mind when I think of a comedy. If anything, I think of stuff like Anchorman, kind of stuff you're looking for. I'll think on the other end of the spectrum, Monty Python, they'll look for. But you forget films like this, like really, really genuine films. It's got another film that's took part of its legacy is Ferris Bueller. You know, the whole car,
you can feel Ferris Bueller.
You know, the floor, you know, like it's come well off. That's a really good example of a film that's trying to reserve that legacy that this film brought, reserve that kind of feel, that genuineness, that inviting presence.
And legacy is a good way of putting it, because like this is such a culturally important film.
Easily.
Like I said, it might not be the most like amazing, blow your mind sort of film. Like we did Mulholland Drive last week. Mulholland Drive has so much more artistic merit, yet it's probably less culturally significant than Animal House.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot to its credit.
Yeah, it's a film that if you're a fan of comedy, you have to watch this. You have to watch this.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're going to watch this, be prepared for, if you've only watched modern comedy, be prepared for a shift in pacing for comedy, especially at the beginning. This is quite slow.
Yeah.
Even as it builds, even as we have like the big sort of like energetic moments, they're not exactly, cut the way today's comedies are cut.
Yeah. Well, then you develop more of a association, you develop a more likeness for each character. Each character's got their individual qualities.
I think
that slowness helps.
Like this is far more sincere than a lot of comedy being made these days.
Yeah, I agree.
So, if you would like to let us know what you thought of Animal House, you can hit us up in the comments below, or you can hit us up on Twitter as well. We'll be back next week once again to watch a film. We'll be watching.
To compare with American comedy, even though it might be heavily different, we're going to do Monty Python.
We are. Because as we alluded to earlier, there's a lot of parallel in this and Monty Python, and there's also a lot of divergence in it as well. So it's going to be interesting doing American comedy.
The Holy Grail, by the way.
British comedy.
Yeah.
The Holy Grail.
Which is superb. So if you tell me otherwise, you can tell us in the comments below if you don't like the Monty Python, but I'll come round your house. Monty Python's awesome.
He'll bring a shrubbery as well.
I demand a shrubbery.
Thank you very much for joining us, guys. See you next week.